There is a leaf, and I mean a real, ordinary leaf, the kind that grows like a weed in damp ground, the kind you have probably stepped right over 100 times without a second thought, that does something to a sagging jaw and soft, drooping cheeks that most people are absolutely convinced only a needle or a surgeon or some $1,000 machine can do. It firms the face back up from the inside. No needles, no clinic, nothing cut, nothing frozen, nothing injected. And I know exactly how that sounds. Believe me, I do. I've been a doctor for a long time, and if a patient had walked into my office 30 years ago and said that sentence to me, I would have smiled politely and gently changed the subject. So let me be honest with you before we go one single inch further, because I am not here to sell you a fairy tale. This is not magic. It is not going to take a face that is 70 years old and hand it back the jawline of a 20-year-old by Friday. If anyone ever promises you that, I want you to close the video right then, because they are lying to you and they know it. What this leaf actually does is quieter than that. Quieter and, honestly, more interesting. Because it works on the one single thing that creams and serums and even Botox completely, totally miss. The people in the villages where this leaf grows have a name for it. They call it the herb of longevity. And there is an old story, tigers, the story goes, when they were wounded, would go and roll in this plant to heal themselves. And that is why one of its oldest names is tiger grass. And the women who drink it and press it onto their skin night after night, they do not use fancy words. They just say their face feels lifted again, tighter along the jaw, awake, like it climbed back up to where it used to sit. But here is the part you have to hear, and it is the whole reason I am making this video instead of just telling you the name and letting you go. Almost everyone who tries this leaf uses it the wrong way. They boil the life right out of it, or they take it twice and forget the jar in the back of the cupboard, and then they shrug and say, well, that did nothing. So please stay with me, because the entire difference between nothing at all and that lifted, firmer jaw comes down to 3 small details that I am going to hand you today for free. Now, before I even tell you the name of this leaf, I want you to do something for me. Go find a mirror. A real one in good light, not the sad little one in the elevator. And when you look, this is important, I do not want you to look at your wrinkles. Forget the wrinkles for a moment. I am serious. Look instead at the shape of your face, the edge of your jaw, that corner up top where your cheek used to sit high and round and full. Because that shape is what actually makes a face read as old or tired to another person, not the lines. The lines are honestly the least of it. It is the shape. When we are young, the face is like a canvas pulled tight over a frame, firm, springy. Push on it and it pushes back. And then somewhere after 50 and faster, much faster, after menopause, the frame underneath the canvas starts to soften. The scaffolding, the collagen, the elastin, the deep structure that was holding everything up. It thins out and it drifts downward. And the skin, which used to be pulled drum tight over all of that, suddenly has nothing underneath holding it up anymore. So it does the only thing it can do. It slides. The cheeks deflate like a balloon a week after the party. The jaw goes soft and loses its edge. That little pouch starts creeping in at the corner of the mouth. And one day you catch yourself in a photograph somebody took without warning you. And there is this half second where you think, who is that tired person? Because that is not how I feel on the inside. On the inside, I am still me. I had a patient, I will call her Eleanor. She is 71, and she was almost embarrassed to bring it up. She kept apologizing, like it was a silly thing to care about. And she said something to me that I have genuinely never been able to forget. She said, "Doctor, I do not want to look young. I am not chasing young. I just want to stop looking like I am melting." And that broke my heart a little, right there in the office. Because I knew exactly, precisely what she meant. And I also knew that every single cream lined up on her bathroom shelf, all that money, was aimed at the wrong target completely. So let me tell you why they fail. Why those beautiful little jars fail. And this is not me being a cynic, or bitter, or anti-science. This is just plain anatomy. The boring truth of how skin is built. The firmness you are missing, it lives deep. It lives in a layer called the dermis, and that is the only place collagen actually gets built. But the top of your skin, the part a cream lands on when you smooth it in, that top part is basically a roof made of dead cells. That is its job. It is a barrier. It is literally designed to keep things things out. So most of that $40, $50, $60 cream just sits up there on the roof and never once reaches the room downstairs where the actual work would have to happen. It is not that the creams are all a scam. Some of them are lovely, they hydrate, the surface looks nice for an evening. It is that they physically cannot go deep enough to touch the thing that is actually sagging. And Botox. Everybody asks me about Botox, so let me just say it plainly. Botox freezes a muscle. That is what it does. It is genuinely wonderful for one specific thing, that angry vertical line between the eyebrows, the 11. But it does not lift anything. It does absolutely nothing for that soft, deflated, slid downward feeling along the cheek and jaw. Because, and this is the key, that is not a muscle problem. That is a scaffolding problem. Freezing a muscle cannot fix a collapsed frame. Fillers, all right, fillers do add volume. That part is true. But now you are talking about needles going into your face in a clinic every few months, forever, at hundreds of dollars a visit. And listen, I am not here to talk anyone out of that. If that is genuinely your path and it makes you happy, wonderful. Go with my blessing. But I kept sitting there in my office thinking, no, there has to be something that actually feeds the scaffolding. Something that goes down there and tells the skin, quietly, to start building its own support again. Something the body does the work of, not a plumper you keep topping up. And the answer, as it turns out, it has been growing in a ditch this whole time. The leaf is called gotu kola. You may have heard it called Centella or Centella asiatica or Indian pennywort. Little round, scalloped leaves, low to the ground, grows anywhere it is damp. And in Asia, they have been using it for over 2,000 years. But here is what got my attention. Modern science finally sat down and asked the obvious, stubborn question, okay, but why? Why does this particular weed firm skin when almost nothing else you can eat or drink does? And what they found, I will be honest, I still find it a little bit hard to believe, and I read this for a living. Gotu kola is packed with a family of compounds. The names really do not matter for you. They are called triterpenes, things with names like asiaticicide and medecicide. You will never need to remember that. What matters is what they do. They wake up your fibroblasts. Now let me tell you what a fibroblast is, because this is the whole ball game. Your fibroblasts are tiny little factories that live down in the deep layer of your skin, and they have exactly one job in this world: build collagen. That is it. That is their entire purpose. And here is the sad part of getting older. They do not die, they just get lazy. They slow right down. They clock in late and leave early. And gotu kola, this is the thing, gotu kola walks into that factory and nudges them, wakes them up, get back to work. And the studies, real published studies, show that when it does that, the skin starts building new collagen again. And not just any collagen, type 1 and type 3, which are the exact two types that give a young, firm face that bounce. And on top of that, it helps support elastin. That is the stuff that lets your skin snap back into place instead of just hanging there. And then it does a second thing, and this is the reason the effect actually shows up on the cheeks and the jaw specifically, and not just anywhere. Gotu kola improves the tiny circulation, the micro blood flow, right underneath the surface of the skin. And think about what that means. More blood flow means more oxygen and more nutrients delivered directly to those sleepy little factories you just woke up. It is like watering a plant you had honestly already given up on and left for dead on the windowsill, and then a week later, there is a green shoot. You did not add anything fake. You just gave the living thing what it needed to do its own job. So the question I always get right about here is, okay, doctor, if this is real, if it is this simple, then why on earth has nobody told me? And the answer is the same ugly answer it always is, and I am just going to say it. Nobody can patent a leaf. There is no $1,000 syringe in this. There is no glossy jar with a French name and a gold cap. You can grow gotu kola in a little pot on your kitchen windowsill for about the price of 1 cup of coffee. And pennies. Pennies do not buy television commercials, and they do not buy magazine ads, and they do not buy the pretty display at the front of the store. That is the entire story. It is not some grand conspiracy in a boardroom. It is just that a weed does not have a marketing budget, and the $40 cream does. So guess which one you have heard of. Now, remember, right at the start, I told you that most people use this leaf the wrong way and get nothing. Here are the 3 mistakes, and if you just avoid these 3, you are already ahead of almost everybody who has ever tried this. Mistake number 1, they boil it to death. Those delicate triterpenes, the entire reason this works at all, hard, rolling, screaming hot heat breaks them down and destroys them. You do not boil gotu kola like you are cooking a potato. You steep it. Gently, like a good, careful cup of tea. I will give you the exact temperature in a minute. Mistake number 2, and this is the big one, so lean in. They try it for 4 days, feel nothing dramatic, get impatient, and quit. And I need you to really hear this, so I am going to say it as clearly as I can. You are asking your own body to build brand new collagen from scratch. That is construction. That is not a light switch. It is a building site, and it does not happen over a long weekend. Firmness is built by repetition. If you remember one single sentence from this entire video, make it that one. Firmness is built by repetition. And mistake number 3, they think, well, if a little is good, then a whole mountain of it must be better. And they start taking these enormous doses. No, please, no. Gotu kola is gentle, but it is genuinely potent, and more is not better here. A small, steady daily amount will beat a giant pile every single time. It works better, and it is far kinder to your stomach and your body. Steady wins this. Steady always wins this. Okay, the how. And it really is just 2 pieces, and they work as a team. One from the inside, one from the outside. Piece 1 is the inside. It is a simple tea. 1 teaspoon of the dried leaf, or a small handful of the fresh leaves if you are growing it, in a cup of hot water. And hot, not boiling, that is the temperature detail. You want it steaming, not raging. Cover it, let it sit about 10 minutes, and drink it once a day. That is the whole thing. That is you feeding those little factories from the inside every single day so they have the raw materials to build with. Piece 2 is the outside, and this is the one that actually gives you that same week, tighter feeling that keeps you going. You make a strong batch of that same tea and you let it cool down completely, all the way. Then you soak a clean cloth in it and you press it gently along your jaw and up over the round of your cheeks. 10 minutes. 4, maybe 5 nights a week. And as it dries on the skin, it has this light, firm, drawing sensation. You can actually feel it. And over the weeks, it is delivering those compounds right to the exact places you want the lift to happen. Inside and outside, together, kept up. That combination, done patiently, that is the green lift. That is the whole thing in one breath. Now I want you to pay very, very close attention to this next part, because honestly, this might be the single most important 30 seconds of the entire video. I took the whole thing, the exact amounts, the temperatures, the timing, the one step everybody skips, and what to actually expect week by week, and I put all of it onto one single page, so that you do not have to remember any of what I just said. It is all right here. Here it is. Look at this for a second. Really look. On the left side, that is the tea, how much leaf, exactly how hot the water should be, and when in the day to drink it. In the middle, that is the press, how strong to make the batch, how long to hold the cloth against the jaw, how many nights a week. And on the right, and the right side is the part people ask me about more than anything else. That is the timeline. What actually happens and when it happens. Because in the first 1 to 3 days, you get that first little bit of surface tightness from the press. And that is real, but I want you to know it is the smallest part of this, the least important. Do not judge the whole thing by day 3. Then, around week 2, into week 3, the skin starts looking more hydrated, more alive, a little more lit up from underneath. That is the circulation waking back up. And then week 6 to week 8, that right there, that is when the real firmness shows up, the deeper lift, the thing you actually came here for. Because that is simply how long new collagen takes to build. That is the reward, and it goes to the one person who quietly, stubbornly kept going while everybody else quit at day 4. Take a screenshot of this. I mean it. Right now, before it moves off the screen, take a screenshot. This one single page can replace an entire shelf of expensive creams, and it is sitting right in front of you. And okay, I am going to be honest with you about one more thing. This page you are looking at right now, this is a single page. one page that I pulled out of a much, much bigger guide that I put together. The complete one has every measurement written out precisely. It has a gentler version for very thin, very sensitive, papery skin. And it has the list of foods that rebuild collagen from the inside, so that the leaf actually has good materials to build with. The whole thing is called the Youthful Skin Method. I am not going to stand here and read a web address out loud at you. That is annoying and you would never remember it anyway. If you want the guide, it is completely free. It is sitting right there in the description just below this video. And there is a little square code on your screen right now. Just point your phone camera at it exactly the way you would at a menu in a restaurant, and it will open the whole thing for you. That is all you have to do. The entire guide is waiting there for you, no cost, nothing. And one more thing, because I already know a lot of you are going to ask me about it in the comments. There is a variation of this, a small tweak to the routine that works noticeably better when the real problem is specifically a heavy, soft jawline. You know the one I mean, the very beginning of jowls, along the bottom edge, more than the cheeks up top. It is one extra step, and honestly, the direction you press the cloth matters far more than people would ever guess. I did not want to clutter up this video and confuse everybody with it, so I wrote it all out, exactly how to do it, and I left it right at the very top of the description, just under the link to the guide. So if a soft, heavy jaw is your main worry, that is the part you want. Go read it. Before you run off though, quickly, who this is not for. Because I am a doctor before I am anything else, and I would never forgive myself if I skipped this. Do a patch test first, always. A small dab of the cooled tea on the inside of your wrist, then wait a full day, and if there is no redness and no itch, then you are good to go. If you are allergic to plants in the carrot and celery family, be careful. Gotu kola is a cousin of theirs. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding or you have any kind of liver condition, then skip the drinking part entirely and please talk to your own doctor first before you do anything. And this last one is the firm one, so hear me. If anything on your skin is changing or bleeding or growing or just does not look right to you, that is not a job for a leaf. That is not a job for a tea. That is a job for a doctor who can look at you in person. Please go and see one. That, my friend, is the whole secret. A leaf that grows in a ditch, steeped gently like tea, pressed onto the skin, kept up with just a little bit of patience, quietly telling your own face to hold itself up again. It costs almost nothing. And the only real thing it asks of you, the only price, is that you do not quit in the first week. So start tonight. Do your patch test, make your very first cup, and then give it the 6 to 8 weeks that it honestly, truly needs. Small, simple. Every single day. That is the whole method. That is how this works. Now you know the secret too. I am Dr. Federer. Take care of yourself, and I mean that, genuinely. I will see you in the next one.